There's a new beat in town. Welcome to Bullet and Flight Music Store, your premier spot for music, books, and one-of-a-kind novelties. Looking to treat yourself or find a unique gift for the music lover in your life? We make it easy. In fact, you can start your collection today for as low as 44 cents. That's right, world-class finds for less than a cup of coffee. Visit us online at bulletinflightmusic.myshopify.com. Plus, keep the conversation going 24/7 with Bullet in Flight Radio on Podbean. Bullet in Flight. Find your rhythm, find your soul.
Hey, everybody. This is Titan Capri from the Titan Capri Experience, and you're listening to Bullet in Flight Radio. Your story, our station. The best progressive Christian network in the world.
Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted, don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Herald what your mother said, read the books your father read. Trying to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you, others take a different view. Together. All I know, love will save the day. Tough, ask no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is danger staring you in the face. Whoa. Listen as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. trying to keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. My, oh my, You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know, love will save the day. Got to be bold, got to be bad, got to be wise, you're never sad. Got to be hard, not too hard. All I know is love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta
Welcome back to Bullet in Flight Radio. Now it's time for another poetry reading from the writer, Just Dominic. This is chapter 2, and it opens with a question that doesn't politely knock. It storms the door. Why are you watching me? Why are you studying me like I'm a problem you're trying to solve? Like I'm a crime waiting to happen? Think about how that feels. To walk into a store and sense eyes tracking your hands. To feel your movements being measured. Not because you've done something wrong, but because someone has already decided you might. Why am I being examined? Why am I being interrogated in advance? Why am I treated like a suspect before I'm treated like a person? And the poem doesn't stay in the vague. It goes straight into the hard realities. Being accused of things you didn't do, being labeled dangerous, being pulled over, and then when power wants a spectacle. Being harmed where everyone can see it, like evidence doesn't matter as much as control. Why arrest me? Why try to diagnose my mind as if my very demeanor is a threat? What's especially sharp here is the way it points to everyday humanity being twisted into something suspicious. Speaking clearly becomes talking back. Carrying yourself with dignity becomes attitude. Being intelligent becomes threatening. And somehow, the person enduring all of this gets called vicious, unstable, lazy, or ignorant. Isn't that the trick? To turn someone's normal self into a justification for mistreatment? Then comes the machinery of judgment. Why judge me? Why sentence me? Why search me, hunt for drugs, and lock me away because you can? The poem calls out the horrifying idea that you can be convicted without proof. Swallowed by a system where the outcome feels pre-written. It gets even more brutal in its imagery. Being kicked, being abused, being spit on as if cruelty is someone's job description. Being caged, displayed, reduced to something less than human. A zoo, a pet, a symbol, a warning, not a person. And then there's another kind of denial, quiet, professional, polished. The kind that smiles while it shuts the door. The poem pivots to that familiar experience. You show up, you do everything right, you give a strong interview. You wait for the call that never comes. No follow-up, no real explanation, just the unspoken message. You're not the right fit. Not because you can't do it, because of what you are. That kind of rejection doesn't always come with a shout. Sometimes it comes with silence. And the echo of that silence stacks up over years. Hopes delayed, dreams postponed, opportunities blocked. But the speaker doesn't end in defeat. The voice says, I've been denied for so long, and still I'm going to rise. Still I'm coming back with determination. Because I'm tired of living under this cloud of negative surveillance. Always watched, always doubted, always reduced. From there, the poem launches into a dream, an American dream, but not the kind we're used to hearing. In this dream, the speaker is in a fancy American restaurant, dressed up, bow tie on, enjoying something sweet like apple pie. The jukebox is playing the national anthem. It's all symbols, isn't it? Status, tradition, power, belonging. And then the dream reveals its edge. The speaker notices the man, someone strikingly handsome, the embodiment of authority. And then there's the mirror moment. Admiring blue eyes, curly blonde hair, straightening a red, white, and blue tie. It's a portrait of a certain kind of American identity, one that has long been sold as the default version of superiority. The voice becomes bold, almost intoxicated. I look sharp. I'm strong. I'm the future. I'm the solution. And then it becomes darker. Even though I'm weak underneath, even though I'm corrupt, I still claim I'm the best the world can offer. I'm perfection. Everyone wants to be like me, and I'm the one who gets to keep them down. That's the confession inside the fantasy. The power doesn't just enjoy being on top, it fears equality. It grimaces at it. It ignores others' efforts. It treats fairness like a threat instead of a promise. The dream builds a whole system around that mindset. A chairman of the board, a government designed to keep certain people behind the table, always serving, never seated. Even the table itself is engraved with patriotic imagery, like a bald eagle soaring. It's a warning. Symbols can be weaponized. Even pride can be used as camouflage. And after this grand meal fit for a king, the speaker wants to offer praise, calls out for staff and the owner, expecting control, expecting the usual hierarchy where someone like him is always answered. But when people finally appear, it isn't who he expects. Two people approach, and the dream exposes a prejudice, so immediate it turns to fear. He checks his wallet. He hides behind his own table. His body reacts before his mind even admits what it believes. They speak calmly. They tell him they're glad he enjoyed the fruits of their labor. And then comes the line that flips the whole room. The pie you ate is a recipe called diversity, grown from our land. Suddenly, what he consumed without question becomes something he's disgusted by, only because he learns who made it and what it represents. He panics. He insists on speaking to the man, the one with real authority. But they tell him the operation is run together. Shared power, shared leadership. And then, another shock to his worldview. One of them is a woman. In his mind, authority was supposed to look a certain way, sound a certain way, be a certain gender, a certain race, a certain category. And now the whole illusion is cracking. As he sweats and searches for the exit, he looks around and sees the impossible made ordinary. All kinds of people enjoying each other. Laughing, eating, singing out loud that this is our America. This is the land of the free. And the speaker, still wearing the mask of superiority, starts to spiral. What happens if they truly come together? What happens if my position weakens? What happens if my secrets become visible and everyone realizes I'm not the beacon I pretended to be? It becomes a frantic desire to wake up, to return to a past that felt safe for the powerful. The dream even drags in that nostalgia for old myths, the kind that romanticize oppression like it was tradition. And then it takes an unmistakably ugly turn. The white sheet, the burning crosses, the fantasy of terror as a tool to restore control. This isn't subtle. It names what many prefer not to name. And then the poem asks the question that matters most. What would this land be like if they could live their American dreams? Not just dream them, live them. If equality wasn't a slogan, but a reality. From there, the scene shifts to Times Square, described like a living universe of difference. People of every shape and size, every complexion and eye color, everywhere you look, moving through the city together. Broadway, Fifth Avenue, the energy of the big city pulsing like a shared heartbeat. A kaleidoscope of faces where no one is the default and everyone belongs. The poem calls it a 21st century mosaic, a roaring sea of humanity. We become one, it says, not by erasing difference, but by standing in it together until it feels normal, until the mix becomes the beauty. But then it zooms outward, beyond New York, to the wider world, and the pain that exists across continents. It speaks of Africa, of South Africa, touched deeply by disease and conflict, of tribal wars and bloodshed and cities pushed to their knees. It shifts eastward to the fear of terror, forces that handcuff nations to horror and threaten freedom. And then it points to another cruelty. People deemed unworthy, pushed aside, made to live and die in conditions no one should accept, boxed into third world environments called reservations, as if language can soften injustice. The poem lists places: Jamaica, Brazil, Korea, Zurich, Germany, Warsaw, Baghdad, Jerusalem, Peru, Holland, Mexico. Like roll call for the human family, a reminder that suffering and struggle don't belong to one map coordinate. So the poem makes a demand. We have to join hands. From London to San Juan, Puerto Rico, we have to ask where the unconditional love is for our fellow man and woman. And it turns the question inward. How do we fight a universal injustice when we still practice our own small thefts, our prejudices, our casual dismissals, our secret cruelties? Do we shut our eyes and pretend it isn't happening? Do we ignore the sting of compassion because it's inconvenient? Or do we try, through giving, praying, hoping, to shift something in the world? And then the personal challenge lands. Do I have enough courage? Is my voice loud enough? Is my heart big enough? The poem returns to a refrain like a declaration. When shall we become one? And then it answers itself with certainty. It's done. It's done. You can't stop what we've become. Diversity is described as the spice of life, a rainbow of complexions as something divine, a delight rather than a threat. It insists that naivete is gone, and walls of prejudice can't keep standing forever. Discrimination is being rejected. Social learning is creating cultural stimulation. Truth is what unites us in equal size and strength. Love is not an accessory to life. It's the practice that makes life whole. It says the melting pot is complete, yet haters still search for division. It celebrates skin as a spectrum, color as meaning, difference as beauty. And it calls for the end of slurs, the end of labeling people as inferior, the end of riots and terror, the end of scapegoating people as if fear justifies violence. There's another strong line in here, a rejection of paranoia, especially the kind aimed at strangers passing in the night. The poem pushes back on the culture of fear that imagines harm everywhere, that uses imagined danger to justify real oppression. It says no more hate crimes, only respectful love, only human connection. And then it gets even broader. Move past religion as a weapon, past chromatic superiority, past territorial boundaries. Let these false borders be erased so we can recognize beauty in traits that can't be replaced. Together we're here, it says, and we're not going anywhere. Variety has won. It's done. But the poem doesn't let the world off the hook. It looks at the violence humans do to each other and calls it what it is. Hunting humans, turning life into sport. How can you chase the blood of your own kin? It compares it to behavior we see in animals and names it cannibalism, devouring our own through hatred. It speaks directly to the KKK member, but it's also speaking to any ideology of supremacy. Search your soul. Hatred is a cancer, and it will take its toll. That's not just moral language. It's a warning about what hate does to the one who carries it, and to the society that tolerates it. Then comes another shift. What's going on? The poem starts asking it again and again, like a pulse. One June day. A groom in a tuxedo with tails, a bride in a beautiful gown, wedding bells, tears of joy, promises meant to last forever. And then, months later, the same two people are tearing each other apart, slandering each other, turning love into a courtroom performance. What's going on? Then another question, more tender, the elderly. The speaker talks about a senior citizen's home and how rich heritage, our elders, our history walking around in human bodies, gets medicated, neglected, left alone. And the reminder is haunting. That will be us tomorrow. So where is our compassion right now? What's going on? It returns to friendship and trust. Companions. Soulmates. The idea that true friendship is part of what holds us up. But something has shifted. People can't keep confidences. What's said now doesn't stay sacred, and that breaks something essential. So again, what's going on? Is it too late to fix what we've broken? The poem moves into justice and power, advocates who cover up truth, innocent people executed, laws manipulated, corruption operating like a machine. It describes the tears caused by malicious power, the way greed and envy and lies lock people into constant fear. And with each example, the question returns, what's going on? And then, surprisingly, it speaks of joy, the pleasure of success, the intensity of celebration, the way togetherness should call for dancing and relief and a massive shared moment. Fill your cup, taste the fruit from the vine, enjoy the meal. And still, even in that moment, the question stands, what's going on? Then the poem turns to the messiness of love. A perfect date, summer night, by the lake, hand in hand. And the twist, it's your best friend's husband. And now there's an engagement ring. It's not told to shock for nothing. It's asking us to face how desire, betrayal, and longing collide inside real human lives. What's going on? It acknowledges that sometimes love's second time around brings unexpected happiness. And it admits how hard it is for many of us to care for one another consistently. We have to learn from the past. It says, if we want to be true lovers, real connection can feel like a trip, a mystery we can't solve by accident. And once again, the question, what's going on? From relationships, it pulls back into a call for conscience. Let's get conscious. It says, let's become conscious. There are too many hidden secrets on this planet. Together, we can raise our attention, grow into one social and spiritual diligence. Same mind, same direction. One love and hope for everyone. That's the vision. So what's going on in us that keeps pulling us away from it? The poem even reaches towards science and spirituality, talking about a life-giving energy, knowledge that exists even without formal degrees, unanswered questions that remain. It wonders about ancient investigations, about fate, about whether revelations, religious or symbolic, might reflect what's unfolding in the world around us. Are these stories trying to tell us what's going on? And then it becomes intimate again, almost like a whisper, without saying it as a whisper. The desire to be close, to press lips together, but for now, settling for a hug, offering comfort, a shoulder massage, a moment of trust. Tell me what's wrong, you can trust me. And then the line that connects the personal to the planetary. Tell me what's going on in the world around you. The ending is a call to pause and actually look at our lives. Take a moment and look around. Don't let failure make you give up. Don't let heartbreak keep you down. The poem names the things we have to overcome: prejudice, fear, corruption, heartbreak. And it names what we're trying to find: equality, commitment, the wisdom of giving and taking. Because under all the noise, we're all reaching for the same essentials: a mutual bond, hope, love, security, trust. We need those, the poem says, to live, to survive, to build something worthy, not just in our private lives, but in the world around us. That concludes Chapter 2 in our series, In the World Around You by Just Dominic. Come back next Tuesday for yet another incredible spiritual journey.
Hello everyone, this is Bishop Natasha Ellison from Come Alive Outreach, and you're listening to Bullet in Flight Radio, your story, our station, the best progressive Christian network in the world.
Where is the love? 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 You don't love anyone that's not like you. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is it?
Love is patient.
Love is kind.
Love is kind.
Love will bring you peace of mind. Love isn't boastful. Love isn't prejudice. Love isn't sadistic or brings tears to your eyes. I don't see you love your neighbor. You don't love anybody that's not like you. I don't see real fruit on your tree. I don't see hearts full of my commandments. I will cut down those foul lacking, like those with a lukewarm heart.
Love is magnetism.
Where is the love? Where is the neighbor? Where is your love? At yourself. Light skin. Where is the love? Dark skin. Where is it? And where is your love? Asian, persuasion. Red, where is the love? Extreme. Where is it? Where is your love? Every nation. Where is the love? Where is the love? Where is it? Where is the love? Where is your love? Where is your love?
In this world, we need more love of you, more love of me, and more love as far as the eye can see.
Our differences are what set us apart as humans, but is the cause of hatred amongst us. There are white people, black people, girls, boys, gay people, straight people, fat people, skinny people, rich people, poor people, people with different beliefs. But underneath, we are all the same. No matter who you are, your blood is red just like mine. So why should any of us be treated differently? We are world change.
There's a new beat in town. Welcome to Bullet and Flight Music Store, your premier spot for music, books, and one-of-a-kind novelties. Looking to treat yourself or find a unique gift for the music lover in your life? We make it easy. In fact, you can start your collection today for as low as 44 cents. That's right, world-class finds for less than a cup of coffee. Visit us online at bulletinflightmusic.myshopify.com. Plus, keep the conversation going 24/7 with Bullet in Flight Radio on Podbean. Bullet in Flight. Find your rhythm, find your soul.
Bullet in flight, fly. Bullet in flight, fly. Bullet in flight, bullet in flight, bullet in flight, fly. Bullet in flight, fly. Fly.